Hi everyone, and welcome to chapter 4 of what's it even called? Girl Wash Your Face. Oh my goodness. I have all my notes over here, and there's some things that she said, so I'm really going to be putting a lot of quotes in here that she said that I was like, whoa, these are powerful. So the lie in this chapter is, I'm better than you. And she goes and tells this like pretty hilarious story about how she kind of heard judging people when she was in high school, and how it still like affects her. And basically she was like judging someone for shaving their hairy toes, and the irony is that she was shaving her hairy toes the whole time. So the theme of it really is like a lot about judgment, and why are we judging people, and are you caught up in that hypocrisy kind of also by accident? Like, are you judging people for things that you yourself are doing, or things that you yourself are getting judged for? And basically it's just not helpful. So but her story about the shaving hairy toes was pretty funny. So her first like huge quote that I was like, whoa, I'm going to read it twice because it's powerful, and I'll pause in between. She said, tearing down other women is usually based on something no less frivolous than the insecurities of our 14-year-old selves. Ouch. I'll say it one more time because I think this is probably my favorite quote of this chapter. Tearing down other women is usually based on something no less frivolous than the insecurities of our 14-year-old selves. I would like to think, I'm sure you would like to think, that we are never judging anyone. We are not gossiping about people. However, we are human, and it happens. So the best thing we can do is to watch that mind chatter and mind drama, and when we notice it happening, to be conscious of it, because if you're not even conscious that it's happening, you can't stop it. And I think we all know, especially in here, I know I'm like sort of preaching to the choir on this, because we are all in here to build each other up and not tear each other down. And everyone, you are always doing an awesome job of that. I'm always super proud of how when you comment on other people's posts, that you are like genuinely like lifting them up, and you're never saying anything bad about them. You know, you're being compassionate, and that's huge. That is something we've cultivated here, that is part of being here, but that is not like normal outside of here. Maybe you have some safe places like that, and that's awesome, but a lot of out there is not like that, unfortunately. But that's why this is so special. So that's something to really think about, though. When you find yourself, even if it's unconsciously like judging someone or gossiping about someone, really think for a second, like, why is this bothering me? Why is this triggering me? Do I have an insecurity surrounding this? Maybe you're thinking thoughts about someone's weight. Maybe you're thinking some thoughts about how much money someone has, about their clothes. And then, why is it triggering you? Do you have something deep down? Like, are you self-conscious about your weight? Are you self-conscious about your money? Are you self-conscious about your clothes? Were you at one point? I mean, this could be, when you're doing this could be like your little innocent child, like 14-year-old self, and her insecurities coming out, and it's not always pretty, and we can't stop it unless we're conscious of it. So she says, the stones we most often fling at others are the stones that have been flung at us. I'll say that one again too. The stones we most often fling at others are the stones that have been flung at us. She talks about how bringing others down won't elevate you, which sometimes I know it can be almost, this is going to sound horrible, but it's almost fun to gossip sometimes, right? Like with your friends, it can be fun. It can be like a stress relief if you're all kind of on the same page and you're kind of bonding over that. But like, after the fact, usually, I know at least for me, I feel like crap when I do that, because I think I'm like, oh my God, I wouldn't want someone to know I just said that. Two, I would never say that to someone's face. And even if I think I would say that to someone's face, I wouldn't, because it's unkind. And it doesn't happen to me a lot, but sometimes I'll be honest, I get sucked in to things, and after the fact, I feel like crap. And it's my gut telling me, like, that's not your real self. That does no one any good. And yeah, so just starting to be a little more conscious of that, because like I said, we're all human. It happens to all of us. No one is like special. Hey, Jen. Okay, and then the biggest thing she really talks about is you don't know their story. So this comes up all the time, right? You might be judging someone in the supermarket, maybe her kid's freaking out, or anything. You're out and about and you're like, you see someone yelling at someone else, or who knows. Like, you don't know their story. You don't know that they could have like this horrible sob story. And if we don't give people the benefit of the doubt, sometimes what happens is then you find out the story and then you feel horrible after the fact. So something that she really talks about is just reminding yourself you don't know their whole story. You would want someone else to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? Like those days when you're just in a horrible mood and you do something you would never normally do. Maybe you're sleep deprived. Maybe you had some horrible like situation over the weekend and you go into work and you're like just blah, like not doing stuff you wouldn't do. You don't want people judging you and being like, oh, she's such a horrible person, blah, blah, blah. I can't believe she, blah, 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 blah. And then if they found out like what crap happened to you over the weekend, they would never have said it. They'd be like, oh, I get it, girl, right? So even if you think you know their story, you don't. We don't know anyone's story besides ourselves. So giving them people the benefit of the doubt. And she talks about like this can even be like little things, like little judging things, just making assumptions about people, frowning, eye rolling, gossiping. Like those are like seemingly insignificant, not like the full out like bashing someone, judging them, but they're also super not helpful, which we all know. However, when we're conscious of it is really when we're gonna be able to catch ourselves. And she talks about how your tribe is out there. So if the thing that she gets asked like super often is how to make friends and cultivate relationships, right? That's all, I feel like all we want, even if we don't realize we want it, we want like those good friends, like those connections where you can just like sit with someone. At least I know me. I want to just like be able to hang out with someone. I don't want to be worrying about what they're thinking about. I don't want to be worrying about what I'm thinking about, what they were thinking about. You just want to be able to hang out, talk about real stuff, not put on any acts. And she really talks about like your tribe is out there and you just have to find them, and that they might come in a different package than you thought. So maybe she says you're trying to find someone that fit in like a little box, like just like you. And we kind of really have to like open our eyes to more. And she said, which I liked, the biggest thing to look for is non-judgmental friends. And I think that is so huge. And that's another reason why I love these groups and just the whole like Beachbody coaching community that I'm a part of. I am within a bubble of the community, so I know it's not all the same. But like no one is judging anyone. It's like everyone just wants everyone to succeed, whether it's for weight loss, for toning, for feeling better about themselves, for making money with coaching. Like, it's just happy. It's like you just want everyone to succeed, and they're not judging everyone, and that's huge. You want to look for people who try to build each other up instead of break each other down. I kind of talked about how you girls on here are so good at that. And I really am so proud that everyone has been like that in these groups. So then she says, so what's helped her is finding non-judgmental friends. I was like, she does the like, what's helped her at the end. Policing ourselves. So she says she really has to try and like be conscious of when she's judging. So she says when she does find herself judging, she makes herself stop and think about compliments of them. That is not always easy, right? Like, you have that person that like triggers you and drives you crazy. Everyone does. But she says she makes herself stop and think of compliments, and it's also like training her mind to look for the positive instead of the negative, which that's always good, right? Look at the positive. And then she says the big thing is you need to deal with it and get to the bottom of what is going on with you. Not pointing fingers everywhere else. So basically, why is it triggering you? What little thing have you not uncovered about some little insecurity that you don't even realize you have, and it's triggering you for the judging, gossiping, blah, blah, blah. So that's really what this chapter was. She had a few like cute stories in there, like I said, about the hairy toes and stuff. But I think the biggest thing is just getting conscious of what we're doing, realizing our thoughts and our words have way more power than we think, even if it's said behind people's backs. It affects you and it affects them, even if they're not hearing it. And I really like the idea of like trying to figure out what little insecurity we have. So the discussion question with this is, when you look at the community that you surround yourself with, are those people pushing you towards community or competition? So I kind of like how that was phrased. So look at who you're surrounding yourself with throughout the day, and really like think about it. Are you feeling like you have to compete, or are you feeling like they're pushing you, like if it's a community atmosphere where everyone's trying to lift each other up, or are you trying to just like get ahead? So that's something to think about, because like we all know, what we surround ourselves with is what we become. So if we're always around judgmental, negative, low-level kind of people who are stuck there, we're going to act like that. Where if we're around people like in these groups that are all trying to lift each other up, we're going to act more like that. So that's all I have for you for chapter 4. Feel free to comment below with anything you got from chapter 4. Maybe there was something that resonated with you that I didn't talk about, or if something I talked about resonated with you. If you have any stories that you want to share, go for it. And definitely feel free to share about the discussion question. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Do you feel the difference when you're around people who are positive and uplifting and trying to build everyone up? And how do you feel when you're with people who are kind of the negative, the judgy, trying to pull people down? The other things, I was going to be done, but of course I'm not, is when you start paying attention to this, to yourself and your judging, you are going to start noticing when other people are judging. And I would say that's awesome that you want to be, because it means you're being conscious of it. However, when you see other people judging, remember that is about one of their insecurities. So just kind of seeing like, yes, if I'm doing the judging, it's my insecurity coming up. But if you're seeing other people, or you probably know someone right now that's always gossiping, always just the negative talk, blah, 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 that's their insecurities coming up. So when you can start really seeing that, you can start understanding people a lot better. You can start having a lot more compassion for yourself and for those other people. And I would say having the compassion for yourself and noticing is even more important. But when you can start having that compassion for other people and realizing like those hurtful things they're saying is because they are hurting and they have an insecurity inside of them. So many layers. So anyway, I hope you all have a great day, and I can't wait to talk about chapter 4. Bye.